right?
Do that. Yes, absolutely. Any kind of success.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a good illustration for what success really means. Success doesn't start with, hey, I sold something. Success starts with, hey, people have something to talk about with me because they understand who I am. And that then leads to a relationship that leads to a sale.
Hello and welcome back to what is now session 6 of the LinkedIn Safari sessions with me, Jim James, here in the UK, and Simon Chappuzeau in Cape Town, South Africa. Simon, do you want to say hello?
Hello, Jim.
Simon, it's wonderful. We're moving forward. It's hard to believe we've managed 6 live sessions, but we're moving forward. What have you got in store for me today?
Well, today, I think some great thing is that you've done your first slideshow. And so we're going to look at your slideshow, and I'll show a couple of examples of other slideshows. We will look at your post and analyze how you structured the post, so you can then take that for the next slideshow that you hopefully going to do.
Okay, great. And we're going to talk about then the post, because on the last show, we talked about which formats are most, if you like, highest performing. And you said the slideshow is the highest performing of all. So that's why we've had the challenge. You set me the challenge. We're even going to show people how to create a slideshow, right? I'll let people see my Canva and show how I made the slideshow after you gave me the template. So do you want me to just share a little bit of good news first, Simon, before we dive into how to make a deck?
Good news. So whatever you have in good news, give it to us.
Yeah, the world needs good news. So good news. First of all, I say followers sounds a little bit egotistical, but the number of people that are connected and following what I am sharing has increased now to 11,071. So that's fantastic. So that's grown from just under 11,000 before we started this process. I am spending measurably less time on LinkedIn, but my engagement levels are higher. And today I had a call with a couple of business development people from a new company called Omnicourse, which is an audio app for courses. They were in actually Turkey, and they'd found me through LinkedIn, and they'd read my line, about jumping out of a plane at 17 and loving how profit and publicity can go hand in hand. And that's thanks to you getting me to work on my story, Simon, whereas before it was kind of like my CV. So, and that's leading to an opportunity.
It's a great example how something that you could consider like irrelevant, trivial almost, gives somebody else a sort of like a hook where it can connect with you and form a relationship. And yes, I mean, in the long run, we want to sell something, but before that comes a relationship that has to be built. And that relationship you can build with personal experiences that make you unique and memorable in a way that people connect with you and think, hey, that is an interesting guy. Let's talk some more. So great story.
Yeah. So thank you for that. So it really opens up an opportunity, and just a direct result of changing the About Me profile. And I think we did that in session 3, didn't we? So if anyone wants to go back and look at that, that's on YouTube. And also we're writing this up into articles. So Simon, what have you got in store for us this week?
Yeah, today I wanted to dissect your slideshow and look a bit at the structure. I wanted to show a couple of examples of other slideshows and hopefully give you some pointers and ideas for your next slideshow. Because I think you have, with a book that you wrote, The Anonymous Entrepreneur, you have a lot of great content on your hands. And the question is really, how can you best convey that in a way that people can easily consume that and connect with you? And I'm going to show you a slideshow that I think you're going to like, because it almost gives you the feeling of a book, but it's a slideshow. So, yeah, first let's get started. Let's start by put together a little slide. And what I've put together is sort of a guideline that I have for what we should think about when we write a post. So like a test, and it's a very simple test.
Okay, are you going to share your screen?
Yeah, well, you should see my screen here. Yes. So it's 5 very simple questions that I ask myself every time when I write a post. Um, and it's really not rocket science. But does my post teach teach my reader something? Does my post motivate my reader? Does my post entertain my reader? Does it make them think, or do I give them the feeling that they understand me? And if you take these 5 questions, I think it's a good true north compass, a guideline to measure whether a post is really good. And I had to admit to myself with some posts that I sort of wrote down in a hurry because I didn't really know what to write about. It doesn't hit any of these. And then usually you get low engagement because it's like people are like, so what? I don't care.
Yeah. Those are great questions. And you've got enough of them to give some diversity, which is part of the challenge if you're sitting there. And also not so many as to not know where to start. And you could even put one of those into like storylab.ai or Peppertype or ChatGPT or any one of these writing aids, right, to give you a prompt. Simon, you still there? Hello, Simon. Simon's in Cape Town, South Africa, so sometimes we lose him, and I think that may be the case right now. So Simon is talking about the unnoticed entrepreneur. Are you back, Simon? He's back. He's live. Simon, hello. Can you hear us? Earth calling Simon. The joys of international videos. And what we're going to be doing is we're recording this using riverside.fm and uploading each of these to the YouTube channel, The Unnoticed Entrepreneur. So you can watch all of these afterwards anyway. And I'll also put out as a bonus episode on my podcast, The Unnoticed Entrepreneur, which you can find on all players. Simon, are you back with us now? Hello, Simon, are you there? Okay. Now, so if I can't get Simon back, I'm going to show you what he's given me as homework this week to try and help as an author to share the contents of my book without sounding like I'm selling something. So I'm looking at the LinkedIn Live and I can see Simon's frozen there. So Simon, are you there? Hello, Simon. Now, while we don't have Simon, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And I've got here under my window the Canva slides, and I used Canva to create the presentation. Simon gave me a template, which is great. And what I did was did a sort of a red, gray, black sequence, taking the content from one of the chapters with Oscar Trimboli, who's a listening expert in Australia. She was like, we're doing everything with people from all over the world, which is fantastic. And you can see here, basically what I did was create a slide, each slide with a small amount of text telling a story. And this is really Simon's genius has been to try and, help me to work out, not selling, but informing, but entertaining, educating. This is really a key point of what Simon's been teaching me. And you can see here what I did was I was able to create this Canva. And truth be told, I was actually waiting for my daughter to finish her ballet lesson. And I used the iPad app on Canva to create this while I was waiting for her, sitting in the car. And what I did then was I was able to export this as a PDF file. And Canva has access to lots and lots of great photographs. So you can get stock photographs, and then you can remove the background in Canva. This also will work in Visme too. So when you export that, then of course you can import that as a PDF into LinkedIn. Simon, you back with us?
I'm back.
Good. I was winging it a little bit there when I lost you, but I know that sometimes you're having some issues with power there. Thank you. So,
power outage.
So luckily we had a little bit of a chat before Simon and I talk. We always talk on a Monday what we're going to cover, and then on Thursday we go through it. So Simon, I've just shared how I made the deck. Do you want to share your screen and see the performance of it, or is your internet, not going to handle that?
Let's see. So you shared Canva and how you do decks in Canva, and just to show.
Yeah, that's right. Very simple.
Just to show alternatives. I thought I think show my deck.
Yes, of course. So that was the plan. And then I think the point of showing you Canva is that without being a designer, tools like Canva and Visme give you the power to create content. It's really not that difficult. If you create a format, size is standard on LinkedIn, and you choose some colors that you want and some fonts that you want and the sizes and a style, then Canva really helps you to make this as quickly as anything. Simon, over to you, the template you gave us.
Exactly. So this is just another example of a template you can use. Free tool, Canva, I think is, £10 a month and 20. And Google Slides is a free tool, which basically does the same. What you don't get with Google Slides are images. So I had to buy them separately, but essentially it's the same tool. You have like individual slides, and then you can work with text, and you can insert images like you've done, like crop the backgrounds. Yeah. So it's a very simple tool. If you know how to use Word, you know how to use the slideshow, and it's free.
And Simon, this is the template you kindly shared with me at the beginning. Do you want to then look now at the post on my LinkedIn, as we said, so you can see how it then looks? Because I had to write a little bit of introduction text. And basically what we're doing, Simon and I, is finding a way for people that have got something to promote, in this case, the book by Wiley, the Unnoticed Entrepreneur, and how to make it so we're not selling people a book, we're giving them an insight to what they might get from the book. So that's really the purpose. So Simon, why don't you go, you want to screen share and show then how it's on my profile?
So, and on the note of the book, you said a good thing. Yes, I mean, in the end, we want to sell the book, but I believe that the best way to sell something is to basically give it away for free. Because even if you share all the content that you have in the book, it will never be the same like having the book. But it will help people to understand what they can get from the book. And so some people might think, hey, I can't share what I've written in the book because I want people to buy the book. So why share this in the book? And I think the better way to approach this, and sort of we are getting there now, is to share as much as possible from the book, because that is giving value on LinkedIn. If you look at like the average feed, and you might remember the session we had a couple of weeks back where I asked you to give comments on the posts, and you struggled with some of them. And that is very often because these posts only promote something where you can't really have an opinion or you don't care. So what is there to say? But the minute you start sharing things that are of interest or valuable, and coming back to the 5 things that I said earlier today, would it teach me and entertain me and make me think and show that you understand me? These are things that are interesting or engaging for people. So you started doing this with your posts here. I love your opening line with the Simon Sinek. that, I mean, that's so ironic. I would have never thought that Simon Sinek is a bad listener after he's been talking to us for what close to 15 years. But actually, I can see that. But
no, and that's why I led with that, because you'd also said to me, Simon, in one of the episodes, I think in 4, that if you're posting about people that are obscure, no one really knows, right? And so what I decided this time to do was to try and link it to someone who has a profile. And I listened to Simon Sinek, his a bit of optimism podcast, and he said that. And so I thought, from what you'd said, I would try and build bridges or links to people that have got a profile. So people go, oh, if Simon says that, it's in a different category to sort of someone that people are not familiar with. So that's
Absolutely.
why I did that. I learned that from you.
Yeah, very smart. Absolutely. Because we like to identify with things that we recognize and things that are familiar, and Simon Sinek definitely is. Oscar Primboli, probably less than Simon Sinek. So great
exactly.
opening line. Then another great thing, you led with a number. I'm not sure that we would see this number because it's in the 4th row. With a slideshow, you only see the first 3 rows, but still, it's always good to sort of cram facts, numbers, and hard things into the opening of a post, because that pulls us in. One thing that I see a lot of people do, which is not as good as sort of like have a lengthy introduction like you would have on a blog post, or if you write a letter, that does not work on LinkedIn. So you really have to be very fast with what you say, but so people know what they can expect from this post. And you've done this. You've picked what I think was the strongest fact from the chapter with Oscar Primboli. And yeah, idiosyncratic number that 74.9% of people believe they're above average, because that doesn't make sense, because otherwise they can't be above average. So great. And you took 4 main lessons from the chapter, the 4 listening types. That is quite nice. And you kept the post rather short. So just the text is something that I can easily read in probably less than 60 seconds, which is enough to have a touch point with you, to give a taste of what to expect from this post, from you, and potentially from future posts. And then you just cut it, and so you have the slideshow. Yeah.
And Simon, I owe that to you, because I used to write sort of semi-essays, really. And the less is more. Do more thinking and less writing is one of the takeaways. So for anybody that's involved in writing for here and other platforms, more thinking, less writing is a mantra that I'm taking away from this.
What is this beautiful saying? Sorry for the long letter. I didn't have time to write a short one. Along
yes,
these lines.
That's right. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff about that. Great books are what's left out, not what's put in. Right. So as you said with your 5 questions, which of course we'll share again, and will be on the YouTube video version of this, that you do anything you're entertaining or informing or inspiring, or somehow sharing, it's a key. So tell us what you think of then the PowerPoint that I made in Canva, where I showed that while you're having a power outage.
Yeah, let's go through it slide by slide, so the listeners and the viewers can also see what you've done here. So you've done 12 slides, which is a good number. There's no hard and fast rules for the number of slides you should have in the end. As long as it's interesting and entertaining for the reader, it's a good number. And so but 12 is...
And also one small thing is, Simon, is I use the alt text to do the 3 killer questions to become a better listener.
Yeah.
So that was another little thing, another little piece of metadata that I hadn't used before, but now, just discovering, and you're going to share with us later about how to make sure you share so everyone can view it, not just your connections. We'll share that later.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you come to the post for the first time and you hover over it with the mouse, then you see the killer questions pop up. So it's a nice additional piece of information that we can give to pull people into the post. And I think you've done a good job here with, mentioning the questions. Okay, so let's start the slideshow analysis. Again, here you've done a good job by picking a number with 74. Think we have above average listeners, which is great. What I would have done differently here is to sort of show how ridiculous the number is. Because if I just read it, sort of like you've done it on the next slide. So you've chosen a great picture. So I don't have the answer now how to put that on one slide. But that
I could have switched them actually. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I needed to get a better visual counterpoint to the text. Yeah.
And that's also a good point. So the visuals here are, they're nice, but it's not really sort of working with a headline. It's sort of, we see what we read. And there's one rule in film script editing, that what you see should always be something that you don't hear the actor say. And by that, you create tension because it doesn't really gel what they say. I mean, it's like, I don't know, somebody coming into the door and saying,
Simon,
hey,
just
great
for a
that you're
moment.
here, but not smiling. Then we can read that there's a subtext between that person not being honest and sincere and having some other motives coming into the room.
Okay, because if not, I will share my screen.
But
I will share
you get the point that if we see what is written, it's not as exciting as if there's
okay, I think it looks like we've lost Simon just for a moment. So I think that isn't ideal.
You've done a good job here by pointing out.
Take over here. Okay, Simon. I think we've lost you there, Simon. So what I'm going to do in the interest of time is I'm going to share my screen. Oh, I can't do that while he's still here. Simon. Okay, I will share my screen and I will just show you. Here is the post that we did. And so we'll wait for Simon to be able to rejoin us. But here, what I did was I took some pictures, stock pictures, and I think Simon's made a really good point there about the need to find pictures that are accountable. In a way, maybe that's the hardest part of this from a creative point of view, and why it's not just about finding pictures and text, it's about making them that work together. Here I have about most people know mathematics, wines, and cheese. And I have to say, I thank Simon for giving me the prompt on how to do all of this, because it's not something I was familiar with. But you can see another thing that I did was I made a point of having just a little text, not too much text on every page. And this is the central problem. No one's taught us how to listen. And here's Oscar. Now, Oscar's picture, and I took this from Canva, removed the background so that I could get, the person and the place together. And then this is the solution that we're getting as a result of learning from Oscar. Okay. And Oscar's got the 3 essential questions that he says you need to know in order to hold a brilliant conversation, to be a brilliant listener. And the first one, then I just make the reader wait just a moment, just to pause. And then the first one is tell me more. So you're showing interest. The second question is, and what else? Go deeper in the conversation. And the third is the silence. Let the truth come out. And then what I've done is shared how, if anyone was interested, they could find the podcast, which is on the Unnoticed Entrepreneur podcast, or they could read the book. And obviously, and here's the book. So what we're really trying to do is to help people to know what's inside the book. This is one of 50 articles with people like Oscar, without selling the book. And this is the key, as Simon was saying earlier on. What we're trying to do is to inform or inspire or to educate people, and then to leave a place where they can come and find us. Simon, you're back. Wonderful. He's back. Right. So Simon, I've gone through the deck and we've got about 6 minutes left. And I'm sorry that in South Africa, I know you're having some problems there with power. Next time I have to get you a bicycle and you can sort of cycle for the power at the same time. So I'll stop sharing, shall I? Or do you want to make any more comments on the deck?
Yeah, I think let's move on to the last section, which is
Yes.
the other samples that I wanted to share. More
Okay.
um, samples for interesting slideshows, because some people really have taken that to an art form and read talk. Yes.
And I think what we're doing while Simon's teeing that up is, we're just showing how using Canva and Simon's framework, a novice like me can transform my LinkedIn contribution from really being sort of content dumping to content creation proper. And it's taking less time, but more thinking, but the rewards are much greater. So really taking some effort and thinking about the audience rather than the sort of the function is really a key learning from this. So Simon, I'm just playing for time there. So yeah.
And you've used the great word content dumping, which I think sums up what a lot of people do on LinkedIn. Thinking if you announce your latest workshop, your promotion, your whatnot, people care about that. And I couldn't have named it better. It is content dumping because it's not really paying attention and is not considering what is interesting to the reader. And what is interesting to the reader, again, is like if you teach something, if you motivate people, if you entertain them, if you make them think, and you show them that you understand. So it's always about the reader. And I think we are just at the beginning of a wonderful journey, understanding how we can do this with our audience. And I wanted to finish off by showing one of my favorite slideshows. This is a guy called Chappuzeau from Mexico. And he's taken at a new art form. He summarizes books. He asked people for their input. And as you can see, the whole look and feel, now you see the first page, the whole look and feel of this thing is almost like a book. And what happens very often, and that is another thing that LinkedIn rewards you or holds sort of for you, is if people, look at the whole slideshow. So every click that you do on a slide is counted as an impression. So you get great impression numbers. If people go through the whole thing, that's a big plus for LinkedIn. And the other thing is, if people save a slideshow, because you can save these slideshows. So you see some, LinkedIn authors really taking this to an art form, and Jose is one of these. This example, it's a 5 dead copywriters that he's chosen best classics of copywriting. And you can see with sort of like his name at the bottom, it almost feels like a book cover. And what you then get as you go through this book is nothing short of like really interesting and valuable. It's easy to read. It's very text-based. So you can do images, you can do text. If you do text, it really has to be good, well-written, on point, entertaining, so that you, over time, build trust with the audience that they know whatever you do, whatever you deliver in these slideshows is of value, and they want to see this. And again, you can see, so again, great visual, almost like a book cover, clear font, clear layout. And since I know that he does all of his slideshows like that, and all of his slideshows are highly insightful and interesting, I definitely want to save them all, and I blindly check them out. And that is sort of a thing that you develop over time. So if I look at my original slideshows, I don't want to see them anymore because they're horrible. But over time, you get a sense of like how to put the font and the colors and images and not images. And most importantly, how to write what you have to show in the slideshow to make it interesting to the reader and hit these 5 qualities that we spoke about earlier.
Simon, that's wonderful. I love that. And I think for those people that are watching, who like me are not necessarily writers or creators, I think that what we're really trying to do with the LinkedIn Safari is to just show progression, right? And we're making incremental changes over time. That there's a takeaway from today It's that we really need to think about reducing the volume and not doing content dumping, but think about Simon's 5 questions. I don't know whether, Simon, you can put them back on the screen again, can you? Because I think if we approach LinkedIn as we would with Twitter or Instagram or any of the other channels, with what's in it for the audience rather than that I need to post something today, that for me is a critical mindset change on the journey to creating content that people actually want to engage with. Well, Simon's back in the dark. Simon.
But I'm here.
So he's here, which is great. And we're finished. It's past. So Simon, just read those last 5 quickly and then we'll sign off.
Yeah. Again, so if your post hits any of these 5, if it teaches people, if it motivates people, if it entertains them, if it makes them think, or if you show that you understand your reader, then it is a good post, and you should be confident to publish that post.
Thank you for joining Simon and I in this episode 6 of the LinkedIn Safari. Simon, do you want to say goodbye from South Africa, from Cape Town?
No. It was great being here with you. Always fun, and looking forward to next week's slideshow that you will then show.
Yeah, and we're working on this. So on the YouTube channel, we'll put a link, but we've now got all 6 of these online. You can watch the back catalog. And, Simon and I, our details are obviously on LinkedIn. So reach out to us with any questions or any questions that you'd like us to answer or any particular problems you're solving. And in the meantime, until we meet you, same time, same place, that's 12 o'clock GMT here on LinkedIn Live. Thank you so much for joining us. And as I always say, keep on communicating.
Thank you, James.
All right. We'll say goodbye. We used to sing before, but I think probably no one liked that. So we'll just say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.